Okay, here I am working this filly for, I probably worked her about 5 times at this point. And I've been making a little progress each and every time. And I just kind of wanted to show you what we're doing today with her. And see, she got trapped by somebody that came over and put a halter on her. So that's how she came. And I'm not sure exactly if they cut that lead rope off or she stepped on it and tore it off, but nonetheless, there's a little short lead rope on there, as you can see. And I had two choices, and I thought about it. I was going to actually try and get that halter off and start just from scratch, roping her, and then, when I could, put on a rope halter like I usually use, but then I thought, what the heck, it's already on there. Maybe I can use it to my advantage, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I left the halter on. And I don't ever do that. And myself, I never leave the halter on. That's something when I grew up, we did that, but that I haven't done that in years and years and years. But anyway, it doesn't matter. She had a halter on her, and we just go from there. So I had to rope her the last few days prior to this video. First, I'd just kind of throw her a little loop over there, just rope her. I'd get her untracking and stuff with my last rope. And then by the second day, maybe I was able to have the rope in my hand, my rope around her neck, and then I would be able to grab that little short halter rope. And I toyed with the idea of just unsnapping it and putting in a longer snap halter rope, but I thought, what the heck? It's a good challenge. Let me see if I can get it done. So that can't be more than 2 feet long, that lead rope. But she got all the untracking and following me and hooking on with the last rope prior to this. So I'll get that video out too. Got to get it edited because it's a long video, but show that as well. But yeah, and I had to use a stick in the first 2 or 3 days, just a stick with no flag on it, because that's all she could handle. So then after she got okay with that, I tied the flag around the rod so it wouldn't flap, and I started, touching her and rubbing her with the flag tied up. And as she got better and better, then I untied the flag so it flopped a little bit, and kind of that's where we are today. So she's tolerating that flag pretty good, and I haven't been able to touch her with my hand on the neck. I've been able to touch her with my hand on the jaw, up around her halter, and I've been doing that on purpose so that I could, she wouldn't be startled about actually taking that halter off, because as soon as I can, I am going to get that halter off. And in this video, it doesn't show it, sad to say, because it went out of frame, but I did get the halter off at the end of this video, but you won't see that. So I have to show you in the next video how I catch her and get a halter on her. And right here, I got a dump truck. You can see that dump truck in the background. I was very frustrated, but I was holding myself together. He had just dumped it, and then he just started slamming that box real hard, making this huge sound. I'm trying to work this colt. I was just very frustrated. So I'm just sitting there saying, let him get done, let him move out of the way, and I'll resume my work. That's the thing, it's about the thing, anything in life, but especially working these horses. I used to want everything like so perfect and quiet, and life doesn't happen that way. Those guys were doing their job. That's okay. It was the city out there doing some kind of road work, and they were going to it. They could care less that I had a touchy colt. So I waved at him, tried to get my attitude a little bit better adjusted, and now I'm going to resume my work with this baby. So it's a lot of this stuff is, I was gonna have my wife edit this a little more, but it's worth watching. There's a lot of stuff here. Just looks like I'm not doing anything, but this stuff is big stuff for this filly. See, I keep grabbing that halter and getting her so she'll tolerate my hand around there, because I got to be able to get that halter on and off. And, so I'm just planning ahead. That's why I'm doing that. And, she kind of likes it, actually, if I just rub her jaw a little bit. But the idea really of me is just touching her around the face and around the nose, because see, that nose band's got to come up over that nose, and she's really touchy about that area. So what I'm doing right there is trying to get around that area and just soothing her and scratching her. I wouldn't even call it scratching at first. It was rubbing at first, and then just light scratching. And she wants to bite sometimes, so I got to really be careful of how I move my hand, how slow I move my hand, because she'll just take a nip at me, and I don't want her doing that. But see, I'm just grabbing the side there of the halter and shaking a little bit until she doesn't feel threatened. And then I get a little scratch there. So that's why I'm doing that. Then I let her chill for a second. And then I just keep resuming the same thing. And what happens is, I found out on these guys over the years that if you start and you get a place where they get comfortable, then you just sort of expand up a little bit or around their neck, and then you come back to that place. You don't stay in the new place. See how that's a new place right there. And see how she's cocked her head? That's new. So I went right back to where she was comfortable. And then I go again. I venture out, rub her in the new area there, see her along the mane and along the neck. And then I'll probably go right back to the jaw where I know she's comfortable. So I keep going back to the place that she's comfortable. And then I venture out again. And eventually you can stay longer and longer and get farther out, down their back and along their hip and all that. But it's almost like advance and retreat. You advance a little bit, you retreat back to where they're comfortable, and then keep going. She's tolerating. She didn't like it much. She cocks her head up there, but she's tolerating, and I think she likes the way it feels, but she's just so protective of herself. See, I'm grabbing underneath her jaw there. And every chance I get, I'll move that halter strap a little bit, just kind of move it around so it doesn't scare her. Then I do it on both sides. I'm just trying to approach everything I can, because I'm really thinking about it, how I'm going to halter this filly in the next few days and how I'm going to unhalter her. And I want to do it in a manner where I can keep my hands on her and, she can get through this thing. So now I'm grabbing this side of the halter, see, and scratching her at the same time, rubbing her. There I venture out and back. Out. There's some good stroking there, good rubbing like her mother would do. And that's the first time I've done it like that, on that side like that, along her neck. So that's big stuff. She really doesn't like me fiddling around with her nose and her muzzle there up there. That's really touchy for her. So then I go to my flag again. I kind of give that a rest a bit. And I kind of go to something new a little bit, but it's really the same thing. It's like just rubbing on her with that flag along the neck there, along the new places there. And I'm short with my flag. See, I'm trying to get shorter and shorter. I'm not out at the end of my flag. I'm about a third of the way in, and I'll try to even probably get shorter as I go. There it is. I choked up again. See, I'm choking up a little. So it's less of the flag and more of me getting closer, see? That's all I'm doing there. I'm just trying to advance this thing to where I can keep my hands on her. She'll tolerate the flag, but not my hands so much. Now I'm just going to send her around. New deal. Again, I want her to respect that flag and not be afraid of it. And then secondly, I want her to be able to use that flag as an aid to get her to go, or get her to her front end to go out and around. I can use that flag for a lot of purposes here. There, I drove her there. That was good, and she moved off softly. That's pretty good. I'm just putting that flag every which way and trying to do it in a way that's fitting to her. In other words, in a way that'll keep her from moving her feet. So I do it soft as I can. Find out, and I'm just exploring all over herself. Behind her legs, in front of her legs, and her chest, her rump, her hip, up where the cinch would go one day when she gets saddled. That was just to get to move those hindquarters away there, a little shake of the flag, and then I go back and rub her so she doesn't get panicked from it. Again, I go right back to that halter thing. See how I'm moving that? I'm scratching her, but at the same time I'm moving the band of the nose band up and down so that doesn't come as a surprise to her. And pretty soon she'll tolerate that because I got to have that going for easy haltering on the next time and unhaltering. So your hands up and around on their pole, up there around their ears, along the nose band across the bridge of their nose, up where the buckle is. It's got to be comfortable where your hand up there buckling that thing. And these web halters sometimes, when they're old, they're hard to unbuckle. And I'm going to have to do it one-handed because if I reach up with both hands, that's just too much for her. But so I got to do it one-handed, and it's bound up in that hole, that tongue of that halter, that buckle. Yeah, and she was okay, but she was not near good enough for me to be able to unbuckle her one-handed. So now I'm rubbing her right at that same place where the buckle is with the flag, just to further get her more comfortable with that stuff around there. And I got it around her face there, between her ears, along the front of her head there. Yeah, see, like that, just going over those ears, in and out. That's the wonderful thing about that flag. It's just an extension of my arm, my hand, and I can get a lot done from a distance that she can handle. Back to the buckle again. Yeah, that's big stuff. I mean, that's just a big thing because you get to playing around that buckle too long, and that place right there, she'll start resisting, backing up and putting her head up and really begin to fight it. So you just got to get them used to your hand there so much. So it just takes a lot of time, but that's okay. Time well spent. See, and I got my hand choked up pretty short on that halter rope, and the reason being is I still got a little slack in it because I want her turned loose there. But while I'm doing that, she tried to bite me a little on the earlier session like that. So I would just block her with that halter rope to keep her from getting all the way over to my arm or my shirt or whatever. There, I'm just backing out and giving her a little time to chill because I've been pretty intensely kind of doing this. So I just change her mind about a few things, and that's always good for horses. Just a change up. It just changes things in there, and then you kind of resume what you were doing again. See, and they seem to do better when you do it that way. Yep. So, if I didn't explain this, they'd say, I've seen enough of you scratching that little filly. It's pretty boring. But if you can see what's motivating me to do that over and over, is a couple of things. You can't do too much of that just to get her gentle, so that's great. But my first priority is to be thinking about I'm going to have to come up there around her neck with the halter. I'm going to have to come up the other side with my other hand with the halter around behind her ears. I mean, all that's got to be done, and you got to do it kind of smoothly. And if you don't go there first and prepare her for that, well, it's just not going to end well. See, and really what I'm looking for is a change. And you see, I popped that first part. It took me that long. I popped the first part out of the buckle keeper. Now the tongue is still in the hole there, but I got it out of the keeper there. So now I can work on getting that buckle loosened up and out of and get the tongue out of the hole so where I can drop that halter off of her. But it's just one baby step at a time. Again, I'm choked up on that thing just because if she reaches over at me and catches me off guard, she's not going to take a big chunk of skin off my chest or my arm or tear my shirt up or whatever. And the reason she's, reaching out when she does reach out to bite, she's just protecting herself. So I don't blame her for wanting to do that. I'm just going to block her from doing it, and then maybe ease off on the manner in which I'm approaching her so that she doesn't feel so threatened to want to bite. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get that. I remember now. I wanted to get my halter off this little filly right here, right now. But it didn't work out that way. I'm just giving you ahead of time because I've seen this video before. But that I really was thinking. I said I'll just take it off. I'm right in front of the camera. I'll get it. It'll be a good lesson on how I work at trying to get this halter off of her. But I didn't get it off her until I took her into the other pen that's just outside, which it'll show in a few minutes. I'll be going out to that other pen, but I aborted the idea of taking the halter off in this little pen here. And you'll notice as she tries to avoid me, petting her and rubbing her there. I just keep her bent, and I keep rolling those hindquarters over to get her stopped, and then I'll reapproach. So everything that I've done so far to get those hindquarters operating, to untrack those hindquarters, is helping me here, because she could be getting away and but I don't let her get straight when I'm trying to go in there, especially if she's trying to avoid me. I'll just kind of roll those hindquarters over and untrack them until she kind of gets stopped, and then I just resume. So everything that I've built in there so far, I'm utilizing to advance myself on whatever needs to be done next. Now I just changed the subject. I said, how about following me around? She's really good about that. She was good about that in the very beginning. She'd follow a field just straight forward. And, it's good for them because I'm going away. If she perceives me as trouble, at times I'm walking away, and she's getting emboldened by just following me, because I'm not getting into her space. I'm constantly trying to get out of her space, really. So that's a good thing for a little horse, to build their confidence and change their mind for a few minutes or a few moments, and then go back to it. So here I go out to the bigger pen, and I've been using this bigger pen a couple of days now. After I get her pretty good, I just kind of lead her around, and I just do basically the same stuff, but I get her more of a straight line and leading her down one side and the other, and then untracking the hindquarters, and then going back to the whole thing. So it's just a bigger area to lead her in. And with that 2-foot little rope, I'm not going to get too. I could take her out in the big turnout and everything else, but not with that little lead rope. I wouldn't. When I get my my rope halter on her with my 13-foot lead rope, then I'll feel more confident about taking her on a little field trip. But it forces me, with that 2-foot lead rope, it's really good, because I am handicapped, and I know I'm handicapped, and I